What's going on, everyone? So we got a little time. Thursday is the next game for the Lakers, and we play the Golden State Warriors, and I cannot wait. This starting five that we got that played against the Pelicans just looked absolutely magnificent, right? I mean, we controlled the game start to finish. The Pelicans, they, of course, had their little run, their little punch. It happens, right? Basketball is a game of runs. That's what it's about. But there was never a point, at least in my opinion, that felt like we were going to lose this. Right? Like, that was a game where, I mean, it was a completely different conversation before. I mean, before this trade, before we got this new look roster, when we were up 15-20 and a team came back, you were just like, oh, no, we're about to lose this game, aren't we? I just really didn't feel that in that Pelicans game. You know, when the Pelicans pushed it to 2, I still was like, all right, like, they made their little run. Let's get back at it. I thought Darvin Ham did a great job in the Golden State game, and I thought he did a really good job in the Pelicans game, coaching, having decisive, definitive lineups and rotations, and just, substitutions, calling timeouts in the proper spots, not allowing the teams to go on like any significant major runs. Like, all of those things. Like, I thought he did a very good job. You saw Jared Vanderbilt and his defensive impact. You saw D'Lo and what he looks like as the third guy and just looks good. Malik Beasley still kind of trying to find a shot, but that's just the kind of guy he is. He's a high-volume three-point shooter, right? So he's going to have games where he's 2 of 7, but he's going to have games where he's like 6 of 7. It's just how it goes. I mean, the Blazers game is an example, right? He was like 0 of 5, and then all of a sudden he finished 6 of 10 or something like that, or 5 of 10 or whatever, right? So like, he's a guy that he'll get more comfortable, he'll get better looks. He's been given the green light, which is good. Shoot, you touch the ball, shoot the ball. That's why we brought you here, to be that sniper. But this starting five is just so well balanced, and then just the added depth off the bench. I mean, we have Dennis Schroeder as the 6th man. I mean, he's had his most success as the 6th man, 6th man of the year type guy, point guard. He might be one of, if not the best backup point guards in the league. His ability to kind of give us that change of pace, be that pesky defender. I really like that. You have Austin Reeves, play the 2, or you go Troy Brown. I mean, you could even go with the young guy, Max Christie, in spots if you wanted to, right? Gives us I'm just showing the depth and flexibility there, right? Then on the 3, you have Rui Hachimura. Again, Troy Brown, who was really good guarding Brandon Ingram and has been really consistent this year. Again, he's not a guy that really stands out or jumps out on the page. He's not a guy like through the course of the game, you just kind of like, oh yeah, like that's the dude. But he just, night in and night out, gets you 8 to 12 points, plays some solid defense, gives you some quality minutes. Like, he's a solid contributor. You got Winning Gabriel, you got Mo Bamba now, right? You got all these pieces that I just really think make this roster just really good. And one of the things that it does is we fixed most, if not all, of our holes, all of our issues. We got size on the perimeter, we got defense, we got shooting, playmaking. We got that third guy, that consistent guy, like that guy that could give us 15 plus every single night, night in and night out, but also has the capability of going off for 30 if you need him to, right? Like, all of those things are huge contributors, and it's just such a different variation from what we had a couple weeks ago, right? A couple weeks ago, it was just like, yeah, I mean, like, when this team plays perfect, they night in and night out can match up with anybody, right? You're just like, man, this team, like, they can make some noise, but it's just they have to play to a certain level, right? Where it just, like, this team feels like we can have, like, an off night and still win games. We could not have LeBron James and still win games. We could not have Anthony Davis and still win games. This is a team that I actually think without both of them, we could win some games. I'm not saying you want to miss both your guys for an extended period, but, a night off hopefully next year, not this year, right? We got 23 games left. We need everybody. This is all hands on deck. Every game is a must-win game. But next year, because this is very likely going to be our team next year too, like, you're going to have games where LeBron and AD both miss, right? And usually you lose those games. Like, the team we had this year would have lost those games, right? But this is a team where it's like, oh no, D'Lo, go get us 30. Dennis Schroeder, he's a guy that get us 20 if we need him to. Beasley can get hot. Mo Bamba's going to make up for some of the lack of defense and size. Like, you just feel like, okay, this is a team that could win. Rui could give us some of that scoring. You got Vanderbilt, right? Like, you could still run a starting five. Like, you could just replace AD and LeBron with, like, Rui and Mo Bamba, and boom, right? I mean, granted, they're not LeBron and AD, but they still can provide a lot. Like, Rui is a guy that can go for 15 or 20. Mo Bamba is a guy that can stretch the floor and block shots and be a long, solid defender, right? Just a different look. And when you look at the numbers of the team this year, and granted, you got to think, these numbers are based primarily on the past team. So I wanted to go over these because I think that they're an interesting highlight and shows areas that I really believe that we will and can improve on. So starting in order, points. We are currently 7th in the league in points. Again, that's taking into account the previous team, right? That's taken into account because you got to think these guys have only played 3 games together, and we've only played 1 fully healthy. We put up 120 points against the Pelicans, who are like, 9th in the league in defense? Something like that. So that's pretty good, right? So again, 7th in points. I wouldn't be surprised if we're top 5 by the time the season's over. We've never had an issue scoring, but the difference is now we have more consistent scoring. And think about this. We were 7th in points, and we were atrocious shooting the 3 ball. Right? Like, if you look at 3 points made, we're 29th in the league. We're 29th in the league in 3 points and 7th in total points. Now imagine what D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, Austin Reeves, who could shoot the 3 ball now, like Mo Bamba once he catches his shot, right? Like, imagine what we're going to be shooting the 3 ball by the end of the season. Like, I think we could easily, maybe not move into like the top. We might end up being able to get in like maybe the top 10, top 15 from like the point we did the trade to the end of the season. But for the total scope of the season, like, I could see us getting into like the top 20, which then in theory we would be a top 10 3-point shooting team, because that's the only way that would happen, right? Turnovers. We're 16th in the league in turnovers. I really think we get now, without Russ and his high volume of turnovers, I think that we easily get into like the top 10 in that. Most of these categories, I really believe we're going to be in the top 10. I really do. So again, points, we're top 7. I think we get into the top 5. Rebounds, we're currently top 5. Well, you don't think that Jared Vanderbilt and Mo Bamba and guys like that are going to help us more, right? So again, we maybe top 3. Now, offensive rebounds, we're 22nd in the league, which is not good, but we're 2nd in defensive rebounds. Part of playing defense is getting defensive rebounds, right? Part of defense is finishing the play. We're 2nd in the league in that, and a lot of that is because of Anthony Davis, right? Just being able to clean up the glass. But offensive rebounds, I really think, again, I think we're going to get improvement, right? Rui Hachimura alone is averaging like just under 2 offensive rebounds a game. Jared Vanderbilt's going to get more offensive. We've seen his hustle and his drive and him just trying to keep the ball alive, right? Like, we're going to be better rebounding in general. So I could see us getting, even if we don't move in the rebounds department, we're top 2 in defensive rebounds and top 5 in total rebounds. We'll be top 5 in points. We're 15th in assists. And this team is averaging, since like they've been put together, right? This new roster, we're averaging something like 60% assist rate per bucket. Like, that will easily put us into the top 10, maybe even the top 5. So realistically, field goal percentage, we're top 10. Field goals attempts, we're top 10. Field goals made, we're number 5, right? Like, we realistically might be in the top 10 in every single category with this team, right? Like, our free throw shooting, that probably might not be. let me correct that, right? Our free throws, this very well might not. We might end up staying in the 20th percent, right? But we do have like Beasley and D'Lo and guys like that, like just better shooters. But True shooting, we're 16th. I really think we get into the top 10. I could see our 3-point percentage, us getting into the top, 10 to 15. Not total this year, because again, this is all numbers based on previous, but from the moment we got the trade done to the end of the season, I could see us maybe, being top 10, top 15. So I look at this roster, I look at the stats, and I go, we're very likely going to be top 10 in every single category. And it's going to come down to defensively, but I think we could end up being a top 10 defense, right? Like, I really think that this team has all the makeup of being a legit contender. I mean, if you look at the numbers from an offensive perspective, we are, right? Like, it's just the defensive perspective. Well, now you got Jared Vanderbilt, and D'Angelo Russell has been playing really good defense. Not like elite lockdown defense, but much better than what we expected, right? And then Malik Beasley, he's been solid defensively. Dennis Schroeder's still going to do his thing. You got Anthony Davis, hopefully, if he stays healthy and is a part of it and all that stuff. Like, you got just a really solid team, right? Like, right now, Lakers are what? Lakers are 15th in defense, in total defense, right? And we're looking this up in real time while we're recording the video. But you got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. We're 18th right now. We're 18th in defense. So can we get to, top 12, top 10? I think so. Right? Because again, the defensive numbers are based on the entirety of the season. We're currently sitting at 114.7. If we knock that down just 2 points, we're in the top 10. If we drop that down to if we get to 112.6, we would be what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'd be number 6th in total defense. The Pelicans, I said they were top 9. They're actually top 7. They're actually 7th in the league in defense. And we just put up 120 against them. Like, with relative ease. Right? Like, seriously, like, with relative ease. And so, you look at the landscape and you look at our record. We also have a much easier record coming up. I really think we could be top 10 defensively, offensively. I mean, we already are. And just total stats across the board. I really like this team. I really like what we're seeing. I really think that this is a team that has the makeup to be a legit championship contender, right? I mean, LeBron James and Anthony Davis, they're going to have to be the stars that we know they can be, right? And we got to actually get into the playoffs. So we have an inherent uphill battle to climb in and of itself. But we have a lot of things in our favor and a lot of things that are going to help us, right? We're also going to need some of these teams to lose, but luckily we're also playing some of those teams, right? Like we're still playing, the Warriors twice. We're playing the Timberwolves a couple times, right? Like, these are all teams that are in front of us that we need to beat and we should beat. And so I really think that we are just in a really good position. And I mean, look, Darvin Ham's going to have to do his thing. Darvin Ham is going to have to coach. Like I said, I really liked what I saw in the Warriors game. I really liked what I saw in the Pelicans game. Now, I know some people were upset with the the Blazers game, but I can't really judge him on that. I mean, it's the NBA. Teams get hot. Teams shoot the lights out. I don't think, what was he going to do that would have changed? Because it wasn't just Lillard. It wasn't like just Damian Lillard was going off to where it's like, why didn't you just trap him and run him off and make other guys beat you? No, literally, they made 23 3-pointers and Damian Lillard had 8 of them. Right? I mean, you had Thibault go 4 of 6 from 3. I don't think he's ever done that in his career. Right? So it's just, I can't knock Darvin Ham for that situation, right? It sucked. It sucked even more because it was the Blazers, which is a team that's in front of us and we're chasing, right? Like where if it was, if it was the Raptors or something, or the Wizards, or, we're playing the Hawks or something like that, right? A team in the East that doesn't really have any bearing on our position other than like we just took a loss. But it was like we took a loss, and on top of taking a loss, it was to Portland, who's ahead of us, who we need tiebreakers for, right? Like that's the difference. But in general, I really do. I really think that this Lakers team, we have the schedule in our favor. We have the offense. I believe we have the defense now. We have the shooting, have the playmaking. We have that third consistent guy. I have everything we need to have success. Darvin Ham's got to coach, right? He's got to continue to do a good job, which I think he has since he has this roster. And again, it's hard to judge a coach when you don't really have a roster, right? Like, yeah, I mean, I wasn't a big fan of the 3 and 4 guard lineups, but you look at the benches like, okay, well, what are your other options? Like, what else are you who else are you putting in? Like, what else are you doing? Like now, like if he rolled out a 4 guard lineup, we'd lose our minds. But also it's different because it's not 4 6-foot guards, right? It's they're all like 6'4", 6'5" now. So that's a big difference, right? Like it's one thing when you have, Kendrick Nunn, Dennis Schroeder, Patrick Beverly, and Russell Westbrook out there, and none of them can shoot, and none of them can, and they're all like 6 foot. Like that's a big difference than when you have like D'Lo, Beasley, Reeves, and like Schroeder, right? Like at least you got 3 guys that can shoot 40%, and you got another guy that's shooting 34%, right? Like that's the big difference. But I mean, I don't want those types of lineups. I don't mind like, D'Lo and Schroeder in spots or in moments, or, I mean, obviously you're going to go Beasley and Russ. I wouldn't mind if like you did like say Beasley, Russ, and Reeves with like LeBron and AD, or maybe Vanderbilt and AD, like have your 2 rebounding defensive monsters with 3 guys that can shoot 40% from 3. Like that's pretty good. I don't mind that, right? Like you have options, which we didn't really have prior. So anyway, as always is a discussion. I just wanted to show you the numbers because I thought they were very interesting, and kind of give us a little clue on things that I think we can improve on, right? Which is crazy to think about, given that like most of those numbers were really good. So, and then it's just coming from the defensive end. Can we get to look at one point we were like top 5 in defense when everyone was healthy with the old team. Imagine what we could be probably top 5 in defense with this team, like easily. Jared Vanderbilt, I mean, Anthony Davis takes us from like a bottom, like top 30 defense to a top 15 defense by himself. Jared Vanderbilt's going to move us up a couple spots, right? Like if we can just be 2 points better than we have been with this team, which you have more defenders now, so it's not unrealistic. I mean, we would be top, like I said, top 7. We'd be 6th in defense if we go if we are just 2 points better. That's I don't think that's unrealistic. I mean, if we're even a point better, we're top 10. So, like, can we get at least a point better? But anyway, again, love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Let me know.